Dear students, in this video I am going to explain about the fluid flow measurements, the different types of devices used for fluid flow measurement. In many engineering applications, measurement of fluid flow is very important. We use different techniques for measuring a fluid flow rate, and Bernoulli's equation and continuity equation become very useful in measurement of fluid flow. We apply this law of conservation of mass and law of conservation of energy to find out the flow rate through a pipelines or an open channel flow. We have different types of flow measuring devices. Basically, we have velocity measuring instruments and discharge measuring instruments. Under velocity measuring instruments, in this session I am going to explain about the working of pitot tube and hot wire anemometer and current meters are also used to measure the velocity at a point in a fluid flow. Under discharge measuring instruments, we have for measuring flow through pipe, that is when the pipe is running full with a liquid, it should not form a free surface within the pipe. In such cases, we have venturi meter, orifice meter, flow nozzle meter, elbow meter, rotameter. In this session I am going to explain about venturi meter and orifice meter, which are generally called as variable head meters or obstruction meters because of their working principle. And for measuring the flow rates from the mouth or openings of tanks and reservoirs, we can use orifices. And for open channel lines, as you can see in rivers and canals, notches and weirs are generally used for measuring discharge. So starting with pitot tube, earlier in the previous session on fluid dynamics, it is briefly discussed when we were discussing about stagnation pressure. So it is pitot tube is the simplest device used for measuring velocity of fluid flow. In its simplest form, it consists of a bent glass tube so that the capillary effects are negligible in there, and one limb of the tube is called as body, which is inserted into the flow stream and aligned with the direction of flow, while the other limb is called the stem, which is vertical and open to atmosphere. The basic principle of this is, if you want to find out velocity at point 1, looking at the sketch, then the velocity at point 1 is reduced to 0 at point A, which is called as stagnation point. There is an increase in pressure energy due to the conversion of this kinetic energy, because it was having some energy because of its movement, and that energy is stopped isentropically, that is reversible and adiabatic, into, so that this kinetic energy is converted into pressure energy, that is dynamic pressure. And by measuring this increase in pressure energy at this point, by measuring the increase in the pressure at this point, that is at point A, we can find out the velocity of flow in that case. So consider a point 1, which is slightly upstream of the point A, that is the very tip of the open limb there, the limb which is open, exposed to the fluid flow and lying in the same horizontal plane. Remember, point 1 and point A lie in the same horizontal plane in the flowing stream, where the velocity is v1, that is velocity at point 1 is v1. Now if the at the point 1 and A are at the same depth from the free surface, that is h naught. H naught is the depth from the free surface in the fluid stream, and h is the height of the fluid raised in the pitot tube above the free surface. H naught is till the free surface from the point 1 and A, and h is the height from the free surface in the column in the tube. Now applying Bernoulli's equation between the points 1 and a, and neglecting loss of energy, we have this expression P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g plus Z1, that is energy at point 1 is equal to energy at point A, Pa by rho g plus Va square by 2g plus Za. Since this is a horizontal point, they lie in the horizontal plane 1 and A, we have Z1 is equal to Za, and since the velocity stopped, the fluid flow is stopped isentropically at point A, Va is equal to 0, and the pressure head at point 1 is the static pressure, that is H naught, which is nothing but P1 by rho g, and there is an increase in pressure at A, and that increase is nothing but H. So the total pressure at point A is pressure head Pa by rho g, which is H plus H naught. So if you substitute these in the Bernoulli's equation, we get H naught plus V1 square by 2g is equal to H plus H naught, and H naught is there in both LHS and RHS, simplifying that and obtaining an expression for V1, which is the velocity of flow at point 1 in a flow, and we get V1 is equal to root of 2gh. So if we know the height, the increase in pressure due to the sudden stopping, that is what we call it as dynamic pressure head H, we get V1 value. In order to find the velocity of flow in a pipe using pitot tube, we have V1 is equal to root of 2gh, and there are different ways to find out that h. So there are 4 different cases. Well, let us discuss one by one. This is a very simple arrangement by using a piezometer tube, a vertical piezometer tube attached before the pitot tube. So piezometer will give you H naught, and this pitot tube will give you the total of H plus H naught, and the difference in these two levels in the piezometer tube and pitot tube will be taken as H. And we can use pitot tube connected with a piezometer tube. In the first case they were not connected together, but in this case you can see the connection between them, and this piezometer will give you the static one, and the pitot tube will get you the total sum, that is stagnation point pressure. So now also you can find the difference between the levels, which will be taken as H. The third case, we can use a differential U-tube manometer connected with vertical piezometer and pitot tube. So the difference is that X value will be for difference in level of a manometric fluid, and again we have to use H is equal to X into Sg by S naught minus 1. We'll discuss this in detail later. So we'll have to use a separate expression to find out this H value also. That is the equation, that is the value needed in calculation of V1. And lastly, this is much more complex arrangement, but more accurate arrangement, with consists of two circular concentric tubes, one inside the other, with some annular space between each other, and the outlet of these tubes are connected to a differential manometer, where the pressure head is measured by the difference in levels, say X. So if you can see the openings here, that opening will give you the static pressure. The opening here in the at the mouth, here the direct opening gives you the total stagnation pressure, whereas this openings at the side surfaces, the lateral surfaces, will give you the pressure, dynamic pressure there. So this H value can be found out by using this relation. We'll have it used again. X is the differential manometer reading, Hg is the specific gravity of the manometric liquid, and S naught is the density, specific gravity of the flowing fluid. So if we have a lighter manometric fluid, this equation will change slightly to H is equal to X multiplied by 1 minus SL or S naught divided by Sg. We'll discuss this later. Venturimeter is a device which is used for measuring the rate of flow through a pipe. The variable head meters, for which venturimeter is an example, uses the principle of reduction of cross-sectional area for the flow passage, so that a differential pressure is created. This pressure difference can be used to find out the discharge through the pipe. So we'll elaborate more in this session. When it comes to construction, there are four main parts: the inlet section, and then a convergent cone, and a cylindrical throat, and a gradually divergent cone. So there will be usually two pressure tappings, one at the inlet section and the other one at the throat. And this convergent cone and divergent cone is carefully designed. So maximum of angle of 21 degree plus or minus 1 degree is given for convergent cones, whereas a very small total included angle, that is 5 to 15 degree, is provided for venturimeter in order to recover the pressure losses. When you restrict the flow, because the obstruction meters uses the restriction so that the pressure is reduced, and this pressure difference is used for the calculation of discharge. And since we are reducing or restricting the flow, there will be a pressure loss, and in order to recover this pressure loss, there will be a long divergent cone compared to the length of the convergent cone. The length of divergent cone is long, so that it is for easy flow and to reduce the pressure loss, we can have a maximum length of divergent cone. So we can use smaller included angles for the divergent cones. And usually the throat diameter of the throat will be approximately 1/3 to 3/4 of the diameter of the pipeline, and even the length will be approximately equal to the diameter of the throat. And at some distance, like 2.7 times the difference between the that is pipe and throat diameter, the inlet section is identified, or the length of convergent cone is taken that way. And you can see the pressure, instead of the pressure gauges, you can also use a differential manometer. There is no necessity of using both. At we consider inlet section 1 1 and throat section 2 2, and we need to measure the difference between P1 and P2. In such case, either pressure gauges can be used or differential manometer can be used. It is not necessary that both to be used. So the length of converging divergent cone should be more than that of converging cone to avoid the pressure loss. And because of the construction, definitely the velocity at the throat section will be greater than that of the inlet section, so that consequently there will be a reduction in pressure, and that reduction in pressure is useful in the determination of Q. And sometimes this Q, this reduction will go so high that the pressure at the throat will become negative also. So we have to take care in such cases also, or we have to measure the vacuum pressure at that point too. So once you find out this pressure difference, we can find out what is a Q. There is a derivation in the next slide. We'll understand it for clarity. This expression for discharge through venturimeter. Let us consider the details there. Let section 1 1 be the section considered at sufficient distance away from the throat section or the restriction, and section 2 2 is at the throat, where the maximum velocity is observed, and there will be a minimum pressure in the line. So P1 minus P2, that is the pressure difference between section 1 1 and 2 2, become maximum, so that can be used. and we have used a differential manometer, and the differential reading is x, and we have considered parameters like d1 is the diameter at the inlet section 1 1, p1 is the pressure at 1 1, v1 is the velocity at 1 1, a1 which is pi d1 square by 4 is the area of cross section at section 1 1. Similarly, we have d2, p2, v2 and a2 at section 2 2. So now using Bernoulli's equation between these two sections, we have P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g plus Z1 is equal to V2 P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g plus Z2. And since this is a horizontal venturimeter, or venturimeter aligned or positioned in horizontal, okay, so we have Z1 is equal to Z2. Because of that, we have P1 by rho g plus V1 square by 2g is equal to P2 by rho g plus V2 square by 2g. And rearranging this, we can write this as P1 by P2, P1 minus P2 by rho g is equal to V2 square minus V1 square by 2g. But this difference P1 minus P2 by rho g is nothing but the pressure difference, difference in pressure heads between section 1 1 and 2 2, which can be replaced by term h. So by doing so, we have h is equal to v2 square minus v1 square divided by 2g. So since the denominator is common, we can say so. And we also know that from continuity equation, discharge is given by a1 v1 is equal to a2 v2. Because of that, we can write v1 is equal to a2 v2 by a1. So substituting this value in equation 2, that is for h, and simplifying for separately for v2, we have an expression for v2. So now v2 is a1 into root of 2gh divided by root of a1 square minus a2 square. So this is an expression for v2. So also we have q is equal to a2 v2, that is discharge q is equal to a2 v2. Substituting that q v2 in this equation, we have discharge equation q is equal to a1 a2 into root of 2gh divided by root of a1 square minus a2 square. Remember, this is a theoretical discharge for the case, but this actual discharge from any fluid flow measurement will always be less than the theoretical measurement. So we use this coefficient of discharge for that purpose, and this actual discharge will be coefficient of discharge CD times this theoretical discharge, where CD is actually ratio of actual discharge to the theoretical discharge, and this value will always be less than 1. There are different ways to find out this h, because we have the only variable in that case of discharge through venturimeter q, that is q is directly varies with h. In order to find out that h, the difference in pressure head, we have different possibilities. One is for a differential manometer, which contains a liquid which is heavier than the liquid which is flowing through the pipe. In that case, you can just have a clear look at the sketch. Definitely at section 1 1 pressure will be greater than the pressure at section 2 2. And now making use of this, the difference between the manometric level in the left and right limb is x, and making use of that, we can come out with this expression for h. I am not going through all the steps how to get this h. So a direct expression is shown there. H is equal to x, which is the differential manometer reading, multiplied by sh by s naught minus 1, where sh is the specific gravity of the heavier manometric liquid, whereas s naught is the specific gravity of the flowing fluid. And for the next case, when the manometric fluid is lighter than the liquid which is flowing through the pipe, and replacing that specific gravity of lighter liquid, we have this expression h is equal to x into 1 minus SL divided by S naught. Remember, SL will be smaller than S naught, because S naught is the density of the specific gravity of the fluid which is flowing through the pipeline, where SL is the lighter manometric liquid's specific gravity. And if the meter is in inclined position or vertical position, in that case, this x into sh by S naught by minus 1, which is nothing but the piezometric head or h value, is now equal to P1 by rho g plus Z1 minus P2 by rho g plus Z2. You can see together with this P1, that is the pressure difference at positions 1 and 2, you should also consider Z1 and Z2, that is the reference head or the datum head or the potential head. The left hand side, you can just see there is an addition of Z1 minus Z2, whereas in the previous section it was just P1 by rho g minus P2 by rho g. This is for heavier manometric fluid, and for lighter manometric fluid we have a slight reversal of that. So we have this same expression for H in terms of SL minus SL and S naught, but this P1 by rho g plus Z1 minus P2 by rho g plus Z2 is changed. So this H expressions what we have discussed for the 4 cases will be used in numerical problem solutions. Orifice meter is another device used to measure flow through pipeline. It works on the same principle as that of Venturi meter. It is one more type of variable head meter. It is comparatively cheaper than the Venturi meter, and inevitably the pressure loss is high in this case compared to Venturi meter, where the coefficient of discharge for Venturi meter lies close to 0.9 to 0.99, whereas for Orifice meter this value will be very low, close to 0.6. So going ahead, Orifice meter is the simplest, cheaper arrangement because it includes a simple plate with an orifice, a central hole in it, and the length of installation is also small compared to Venturi meter. You can observe the total kind of parts of Venturi meter, like convergent zone, convergent section, throat section, and divergent section. You need some length for it, but in this case it is a very small length there. And because of this limitation, because of this advantage, we can have this Orifice meter installed in a very small space. Basically, this Orifice meter it is a flat circular plate with a central hole. The central hole is called as orifice, and this hole is always concentric to the pipe axis. And now we can see it in the sketch. The Orifice meter which is shown is nothing but a plate, a sharp edged plate, and two sections are considered here also. Section 1 which is at the inlet section, where it is not influenced by the orifice, but during its flow the flow converges. As you can see with the dotted lines, the flow converges when it passes through the orifice, and the minimum cross sectional area of the jet will not be exactly at the orifice but some distance downstream the flow. So that point 2 is identified at that point where the jet area is minimum and the velocity is maximum, and that cross section is called as vena contracta. Generally, the thickness of the plate is less than or equal to 0.05 times the diameter of the pipe, and also the diameter of the diameter of the orifice may vary from 0.2 to 0.85 times, but most of the times the orifice diameter will be 0.5 times the pipe diameter, that is half the size of pipe. Usually you can see the two pressure tappings, in this case one at section 1 and the others at section 1, section 2. Section 1 is nothing but some upstream direction per section there, which is uninfluenced or not influenced from the obstruction, whereas this convergent side, that is Section 22 is exactly taken at the vena contracta. This is the region is experimentally found out and identified, and that is a minimum area cross of the cross section where velocity is maximum, and since velocity is maximum we get minimum pressure at this section, so that when you measure the uh, pressure difference between 1 and 2 you get the maximum possible pressure difference. And look at that that jet has to be diverged once it becomes minimum cross sectional area, again it will diverge towards the pipe end, pipe circumference. So in doing so there will be inevitable loss in energy compared to venturimeter. Here the losses are higher, where in case of venturimeter the divergent section helps us to recover the losses because of this obstruction, but in this case there is loss inevitable, there is all, and because of that the coefficient of discharge is very low, close to 0.6. We have expression for discharge through orifice meter. Let P1, P2 and V1 and V2 are the pressure and velocities at sections 1 and 2 respectively. Then for incompressible fluid, Bernoulli's equation between these two sections for no loss, we have this. And when the pipe is horizontal, Z1 is equal to Z2. So H is now P1 minus P2 by rho G, which is nothing but P2 V2 square by minus V1 square by 2G. So rearranging this term, we have V2 now equal to root of 2GH plus V1 square. This is expression for V2. And remember, this gives only the theoretical velocity of flow at section 2. Considering the actual velocity, so there is a coefficient of velocity CV, so which is the ratio of actual velocity to the theoretical velocity. So V2 now, that is the actual velocity V2 is CV into root of 2GH plus V1 square. Now considering continuity equation, if A1 and A2 are the cross sectional areas of the pipe at section 1 and 2 respectively, and remember A2 is area at the vena contracta, it's not the area of the orifice. A2 is the area at the vena contracta, and we have this expression for from the definition contraction coefficient. Cc is contraction coefficient, which is the ratio of A2 to A0. Remember, A2 will always be smaller than A0. A0 is the area at the orifice, A2 is the area at vena contracta. So area at vena contracta will have minimum cross sectional area of the jet. So we have Cc is equal to A2 by A0. Because of that, you can write A2 is equal to Cc into A0. So contraction coefficient or coefficient of contraction Cc is expressed that way. Now using this, A2 is equal to Cc into A0 in the expression for V1 from continuity equation, we have V1 is equal to V2 into Cc multiplied by A0 divided by A1. Using this relation in V1, using this relation of V1 into equation V2, equation for V2, we have expression for V2 as Cv into root of 2gh plus V2 square Cc square A0 square divided by A1 square. So taking that V2 and squaring on both sides, we get V2 square is equal to Cv square multiplied by 2gh plus V2 square Cc square A0 square divided by A1 square. And now just rearranging the terms and separating out V2. V2 now is Cv into root of 2gh divided by root of 1 minus Cv square Cc square A0 square by A1 square. And we also have this Q discharge equation equal to E2 V2. So A2 is Cc into A naught. So using that we have Q is equal to Cc into A naught into V2. And substituting that V2 expression in this Q, we have Q is equal to Cc into A naught Cv root of 2gh divided by 1 minus Cv square Cc square A naught square by A1 square. And we have this expression which will be discussed later. Coefficient of discharge is the product of coefficient of contraction and coefficient of velocity, that is Cd is equal to Cc into Cv. Using that, in this expression for Q, we can rewrite this expression for Q as Q is equal to Cd into A naught root of 2gh divided by root of 1 minus Cd square A naught square by A1 square. Now considering constant C, which is Cd into root of 1 minus Cd square A naught square by A1 square divided by root of 1 minus A naught square by A1 square. Consider this as a constant. And using again this C constant as equal to the coefficient of discharge for this orifice meter, we have the final expression for discharge through an orifice meter, that is Cd, Q is equal to Cd into A naught A1 root of 2gh root of divided by root of A1 square minus A naught square. Remember, this A naught here is area of the orifice, A1 is the area at the inlet, and H is the difference in pressure head. And this equation for Q looks very similar to that of expression for Q in case of Venturi meter. The variation being A naught is the area of orifice in orifice meter, whereas that is replaced in Venturi meter by A2, which is the throat area. So this is the expression for discharge through orifice meter. Just to discuss some of the hydraulic coefficients, we take this orifices. Orifice is just an opening in the side or base of a tank such that its upper edge is completely below the surface of the liquid in the tank. As you can see in the sketch, the section CC is completely below the free surface of the liquid. And even in this case, we can observe the vena contracta coming of the jet there, where it will the jet area of cross section is minimum and the velocity is maximum and the pressure is minimum. So some of the different terms used in this is vena contracta. It is the area of the jet where there is maximum contraction or minimum jet diameter. Coefficient of velocity, it is the ratio of actual velocity of the jet to the theoretical velocity of the jet. Generally its value lies between 0.9 to 0.98, and if V is the actual velocity of the jet, so Cv is given by V by root of 2gh, because root of 2gh is the theoretical jet velocity. And coefficient of contraction is the ratio of jet at vena contracta to the area of the orifice. Just remember, area at vena contracta to area of orifice, that is AC by A naught, is coefficient of contraction. You may come across one more term called contraction ratio in orifice meter or Venturi meter. That is the ratio of the orifice diameter or throat diameter to the inlet section, diameter. But clearly coefficient of contraction is the ratio of jet area at vena contracta to the area of the orifice, and its value may usually lie between 0.61 to 0.65. So now coefficient of discharge is the ratio of actual discharge issued from an orifice to theoretical discharge. Actual discharge at the vena contracta can be found out by actual area of the jet at vena contracta multiplied by actual velocity through vena contracta. So that is given by Q is equal to AC into V, where this AC is Cc into A naught. So we have Cv by root of 2gh as the actual velocity, and no, that is actual Cv divided by root of 2j is actual velocity. So similarly, theoretical discharge is cross-sectional area of the orifice and theoretical area, theoretical velocity of the jet. Q theoretical velocity uh, multiplied by area will get you theoretical discharge. So comparing these two, CD now will be equal to CC into CV. This is the expression we used earlier in the derivation of Q for orifice meter.